Good day to the people. Good day to the people. Got some things on our mind today. This Dotsu Records podcast part two. Um, I see something forming in the world that really has me troubled and disturbed, so to speak. And it's something where the younger kings are being positioned against the older kings. And before we get into that, what I'm realizing in this tragic tale that we've dealt with since these 400 years we were stripped away from Africa and brought over here, and all the things we've done to each other as a people, I'm realizing that this would be the final and the worst part, in some ways, of this problem if the older kings and the younger kings started going at each other, which is pretty much the demise of our people. And I will clarify. Recently in Philly, home of rapper Meek Mill, and I did a little bit of research on this. And what I found was that Meek Mill made a proposition to the local artists from Philly, North and South Philly, etc. And all he said was, if you stop the violence, if you tone down in some ways your raps, the murders, the killing, he said, I will come and sign you dudes personally. I will bring the money to you, you know what I'm saying, and we could get this success together. The younger community took this in some type of way where they started to mock Meek Mill online, some threats in some ways, and some people even told him he was banned from North Philly. He can't go there anymore. And I say to myself, like, this is Meek Mill, and I will dare never speak for another man. That's not what this is about. But what he just accomplished with criminal justice reform, getting out, getting from under that draconian probation they had him on, that's good for everybody. And all the people who came to his defense to help him, the rallies, to get him from up under that oppressive rule was a win for us all. So to say that Meek Mill is outdated, and I think this king is all but 33 or 35 years old, to my knowledge. He's not ready to be put out to the pasture, young people. But the way they approached this with him was that he was out of touch, outdated, and I had to think to myself, like, are you telling me that talking peace is now a no-no? We can't even talk about peace. We can't even talk to you about ending the violence. And before anybody thinks about this situation, as far as I'm concerned, I dedicated over a decade of my life speaking to young people in schools and programs all over and giving them my knowledge and helping them get a leg up in life instead of trapped off like some of us have been. So my point is, are you telling me, based off this Meek Mill situation where they mocked him for speaking peace, he can't come out here no more, where are you from, pick a side, what are you, we can't even sit at the table and talk peace anymore? And I get the frustration amongst the young kings because this world is so different than any of us had, mainly because of the pandemic. Time has gotten shorter, money is funny, and time is ticking. Literally, I get it. But we have to be able to talk to each other and dialogue about peace and making it better for ourselves and the future generations. So I'm going to ask my co-host, the young King Kasim, you got any thoughts on this, King? Are we at a point where the young kings and the older kings are being positioned to go at each other, which would be the ultimate tragedy, but we have to be able to at least speak about peace with each other. We have to be able to speak about peace, and nobody should be mad about that. You got any thoughts on this?
Not as of now. I want to say something real eloquent when I get my thoughts together because I'm, still thinking about what you're saying. But I agree with everything that you've been saying so far. Old against young. You just think about that. It's kind of like if we don't seek the wisdom, because that's what old people have. That's what they have. The old is the wisdom. And having experiences makes the young people learn from that. So
Mhm.
if you're not learning anything, then you see where I'm going.
I do.
But
I do.
when I get my thoughts together, and because I really like to go into detail about,
Yes, sir.
everything.
Respectable.
I'll come back to you with that. But
Got you.
We on to something.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As far as this conversation,
Got
it's
you.
definitely gonna be a part two.
Yes, sir. Continuing with part 2. Now, there's a rapper, up and coming rapper from Newark, went by the name Triple Beans. And that's triple with 2 P's and beans with a Z. I didn't know this king. I just got up on his music recently, and tragically, as quickly as I figured out who he was assassinated. It's a little near and dear to my heart because this king was working with Fetty Wap, who's from Patterson, just like me. And the way it was looking is like Wap might have even been positioning him to sign him to his new music company, 1738 Music. So I say all that to say this. Now, this king was building his brand, making his rounds, just really starting to bubble, doing records with a celebrity like WAP, building up his views. And now I realize that before we can even make it out of the hood or the situation, you're being taken out. So before it was like, at least you can make it out, get to the money, get to the mansion, come back to the hood. Maybe they hate. He didn't make it out the hood yet. He was in position to get himself out the hood, but it turned around and they killed him in broad daylight, and it was captured on camera in Newark, and 2 dudes jumped out and assassinated him for whatever reasons. I have nothing to do or connections with that, but I'm trying to understand is now the game changing to where if you even look like you're about to obtain some success, you're a target. So this is worse. Again, you're close. People can see you putting the strategy together. You're working with this guy. You're getting your views up. You got your Instagram live popping. That's a major part of the formula nowadays, to put your live videos and people correspond with you, and you get that back and forth going, and it builds you up, builds your brand. You pump your music. So this king, Triple Beans, was putting himself in position to be able to make it out, do good for his people. And they punched his clock before he can even sign the dotted line, so to speak. So I'm like remiss on this as well. Is like, is it to create fear within us as a people that don't even try to attempt to get success and make it out the hood, because you're going to be targeted before we're going to let you out of there? So this digs in, for me, speaking for Dasu, a deeper conspiracy at hand. And yes, I'm going to say the word conspiracy, because so many of our people have gained success, not only from social media and YouTube and their music and their following and their followers, etc., and then the merchandising and the advertising that comes in with all of that. It feels like people are trying to close that door on us. That's what I feel. I feel that success chain moving in that direction is now being threatened, because like I was telling my co-host earlier, I was like, bro, don't think, especially now that this election is over and whatnot, and thank God for that, by the way, but these people will try to censor, stop, or hinder hip-hop if they could. And I'll be very clear about that. Those people of a certain age know when 2 Live Crew out of Florida were doing their thing, all the booty shaking, the naked videos, and they tried to censor them. I believe they went and won a court battle to keep their music going. They tried it with NWA, if I'm not mistaken, from the West Coast, tried to censor those kings, threaten those kings. I believe that's where the parental advisory stickers came from on tapes and CDs. That was born from that era. So I'm just saying, don't think these people won't try to come and take this industry from you, young people. Don't think that. Freedom of speech, freedom of artistic expression, we understand that. But now that they have the time that this election is over to focus on other things that's going on, and with the carnage that's being reaped across hip hop right now, bodies and shootings, unlike it is honestly a lifelong hip hop watcher. It is the most dangerous time in hip hop ever in the history of hip hop, and there's no doubt about that. So I just want y'all to be aware of that. Don't think these people won't try to come take those revenue streams. And those revenue streams provide a lot to a lot of people: cameramen, videographers, photographers, producers, managers, A&Rs, you name it. It's a lot that goes into that network. And I feel all of that being threatened by what's going on, which is a tragedy, but you got to look at the bigger picture. They will try to figure out a way. They don't want everybody being successful on YouTube, getting up to 1 million views. Now you're getting checks in your pocket. Now you got advertising and your merchandise. They don't want to see that. So if we don't get a hold on this, that can come back to bite us in the ass, so to speak. We got to wake up, people. This thing that they're setting up with this young against the old, and particularly black men, older kings against younger kings, because younger kings are saying they don't care what y'all talking about, and all. I get that rebellious spirit. I used to live that when I was younger. But you have to understand what I'm saying here. That is the end of everything. If we were foolish enough to let something like that happen, whereas we can't talk to each other. When I was in the streets, I would sit down with my enemies. These people may have tried to kill me, or vice versa. But if it would bring peace to the situation, I'll sit across that table, because that's how real big boys do it. That's how the original G's do it. That's how the real gangsters do it. It just ain't pop, pop, kill, kill, bang, bang all the time. Sometimes things are necessary. Sometimes things have to happen. But there should always, even in gangster rap, even in drill rap, even in the gangs, there should always be possibility for dialogue. That concludes this episode for now. I really want y'all to think on that. Young kings against older kings, we can't talk. You don't want to hear peace. You don't want to. Nah, we got to talk, young kings. We're going to talk. We're going to figure this out. Or the worst thing that happen is the others will step in and try to figure this out for us when we can figure this out for ourselves. Part 3 coming soon.